Hello everybody, welcome back to another Conversations with Projektor. Today we start with the topic, I wish Ableton had this shortcut. Before I go, you can contribute topics for this series on my Discord server.
Without any automation. Again, I wish there was a shortcut that temporarily does what this does. Because I do like having the functionality of being able to move stuff without moving the automation. I just don't every time want to go up here and change that thing. It would be much easier if that could just be a shortcut that you could hold some way. I think I can set it up to do that, but it would be nice if control drag just drag this around without moving the automation with it, or alt drag or something. Sometimes you just have to try. Maybe there is a shortcut for that and I'm just unaware, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Alt control does this. I didn't know that. I have that on my middle mouse button, holding down the middle mouse thing.
When did I start making psytrance?
How long have you been making psytrance? I took it seriously from the beginning of the pandemic. And I've been making it, I guess, little over a year longer than that. But before that, I've been making music to some extent for 12 years. The first 8 years of that, I would say, have been, or the first 9 years, up until I started the Projektor project, it was always very experimental and very just messing around. And once I started the Projektor thing and I really dove into psytrance heads first, I really had a clear mindset of what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go. And ever since then, I would say that is really where I've started to learn production fully, where I've gotten into the sound design, where I've gotten into all of the technical stuff and all of those kind of things.
A production full of confusion.
Why is it clicking now? Do I need to... Do you hear that there's like a clicky thing going on? Everything is so confusing today. What is happening? Why is everything breaking? Where is 65? Why are these numbers also messed up? Oh, here. What is happening over here? Some really strange things happening today. Today is a wacky day. Do you hear that towards the end it goes like rut? Is it because it's looping? I mean, I like the sound. I might turn this into a 32 note, but it shouldn't play a 32 note. It's not doing it now, but if I play it like this... Why? What? What's up with my project? Gotta love that moment. Yeah, it is one of the few times that I am not entirely sure what my own organization is doing. I think the reason for it is because I'm naming tracks. Normally, I don't name any of my tracks until I get to the very end of the project when I start exporting for mixing. But because this was originally part of a YouTube video, I decided to name each individual track after that video in the series. And I think that is actually messing up some of these later numbers. Because as you can see, there's just a random 75 over here when it should not be 75. It should be 86, right? Because the way that I've it set up is any track that doesn't have a name. So it's unnamed for MIDI. It's audio for empty audio tracks or like stuff that I'm recording to. And otherwise it is name of the number of the channel and then the sample that I'm loading onto it. So that's kind of the default, but as you can see, some of these numbers just don't make sense with the one that it's actually on, right? Because this is 91, which is okay, and then this should be 92, but for some reason it isn't. Can it be the case that because I'm freezing these and then adding tracks later that it doesn't change the name? Oh man. I don't think I've ever had it to this extent before where I'm just for a moment completely lost in the project. I guess the thing that is happening here is because it's looping. It causes it to do weird stuff. I've also never had that. Today is a strange day, as I said. But we'll do some 32 notes because I do like the sound that we're getting from that. Some accidents happening over here with the projects.
my thoughts on the new Izotope Trash.
Overall, what I would like to do is distort it a little bit, as I said. So we're going to use Trash 2. Have you guys heard, by the way, that the new version of this plugin came out recently by Izotope, and that it's absolutely shit? As in, it's like a downgrade, because there's no, for example, like customization of this curve over here, which is what Trash was known for. Like, that was very nice that you were able to just build in the wave shaper that you wanted. But now Trash 3 came out, and it's like an actual downgrade. It doesn't have, I believe, a full EQ. It just has a low pass filter. There's like another full EQ over here. The convolution isn't as big. It doesn't include any dynamics or I believe even delay, stuff like that. Like there's just a lot of features that are in this plugin that are not in the plugin that is supposed to replace this plugin. There's a lot of backlash going on right now. I did comment under one of the videos that it looked like they took Trash 2 and turned it into a mobile app. I kind of stand by that because it is looking really bad the way that it's initially looked. But I hope that they maybe fix it or something like that. Like this plugin is just fantastic. I don't use it enough because it is really aggressive. Like there's no easy way to just distort it a little bit. It tends to just distort it completely, especially with all of the presets that are in here. It's a trend in plugins just now. It's a real shame they discontinued too. Yeah, I'm super happy with my version. I got this version when they merged with Native Instruments. They actually gave it away for free. So I picked it up because it's just amazing. And I never really had the opportunity to play with it. But now that I have it, I even still don't use it enough, actually. But it's great. It's very nice.
How I got my name and how I got into production.
I like the name. Reminds me that perception is what you yourself place on reality. The Projektor name. You want to know how I got the Projektor name? I was originally releasing music under... Okay, so I started out releasing music under the iconic name DJ Brahmi D. And then I was like, that doesn't sound professional at all after like 3 years. So I decided I cannot even pronounce this, so I'll have to type the name here. I decided to change my name to BRHSM, which the H was supposed to mean the A, like changing around the A to an H, because it kind of looks somewhat similar. And then the S is the initial of my surname. And I moved some stuff around. So I originally had this in mind. And then it would be pronounced Brahms. But I was like, that's never going to work. Let's just move this over here. So that's how I got that second name. And then I released music under that for another few years. And then I was like, again, people started to tell me like the name that you're using, there's no way that you can pronounce that, right? Like there's no easy way international pronunciation for it. So then I was like, okay, I need a better name again. So what I did is I went into a gaming name generator and there I found the name Tremont, which is the last artist project that I had before I started Projektor. So I started releasing under Tremont, and from there I was again like, I'm not so sure about this name, and I started discovering psytrance. And when I discovered psytrance, I was like, I'm not going to put psytrance on my Tremont stuff. Because when I was doing Tremont, I was doing mid-tempo. For those that don't know what mid-tempo is, listen to Res to get an idea of the kind of music that I was making. This person. I was very similar to what this person was doing. Res, and there's another one that is a little bit more... I was like a little bit more aggressive than this. A little bit more strong, a little bit stronger sound design, that kind of stuff. But I was like, okay, I'm not going to put psytrance under the Tremont brand because it's not what I do, right? Even though I had 0 fans, I was still like, oh, I want to keep the Tremont thing. I want to keep doing the mid-tempo maybe. And then I want to do psytrance on the side. That was the initial idea. So I was like, okay, I need another project. And that's when it hit me. I just was like, I need another project. And exactly at that moment, I was like, Projektor. Okay, that's it. That's it. That's right there. Then I was like, oh, if I use Projektor with a C, then, you know, it's for the projection stuff, right? Because that's already a thing. So I was like, what I'll do is I'll just turn the C into a K. and that will be my name. So that's how I got to the name Projektor. It's a little bit of a long, convoluted way of getting there, but in the end, now I'm here, now I'm happy. I'm happy with the name, it sounds good. It is, the important thing about an artist name is that it's translatable and internationally pronounceable. And Projektor, everybody will pronounce it that way, because the name, like the projector, the actual like beamer or the projection machine, right? This thing. These things over here. It's either you call it a projector, or in Italian you call it proiettore, which if there's a K in there you also say it's projector, that kind of thing. So it's always pronounceable in any language, and that is important. Fits right in with psytrance. I didn't necessarily think about it that way, that it would be a good name for psytrance. I was just like, I need another project name. And then I was like, why don't I just call it Projektor? That's project name but longer. I can just use that. Because initially I thought like, oh, I'll do a few psytrance tracks and I'll just throw it on this secondary thing here. And then I've released a few tracks, or not even released them. I just had them up on my SoundCloud and stuff. They've all long been gone. The only track I guess that remains of that period is Acid Dreams. For all of those first tracks that I made even before the pandemic, I made one preset pack that I used. I just spent like a summer making presets, and that became Psychedelic Essentials Volume 1. So Psychedelic Essentials Volume 1 actually came out. I decided to sell that on Gumroad. I don't even know how I found that, but I just found the service and decided to sell it. And that went so well, like I got so many people actually purchasing it. It may have been like 5 people or something like that. But that was enough for me to be convinced like, oh, wait a second, this new project that I started actually made me some money. I can actually do something with this. So then I focused everything onto Projektor, and I started to look up maybe how I could do tutorials and stuff like that. And I had a camera laying around. And when the pandemic hit, I was just stuck indoors, not doing anything. So I decided to one day film myself doing, I think it was like some baseline processing technique with multiband stuff. I mean, I can check. The videos are terrible. If you go back and watch them now, they're absolutely terrible. I had 2 packs coming out, even these drum samples. These drum samples aren't even psytrance yet. At least most of them aren't really psytrance. But I had the Psytrance Essentials. This one, as you can see, it did really well at the time even. It's growing more and more now because it's my oldest video. But at the time, it immediately got a lot of views, right, in the first few days. So I was like, oh, this is cool. This is something that I can use. And you can see, this is actually the view graph of my channel as well. This is how many, or how the rate of my views have gone up. Or I guess maybe the subscribers is that way. Anyway, then I started making the tutorials here, the 31st of January. And this one also was received very well because I published it on the Reddit, the Psytrance Production subreddit. And then from there on, you can see it took me a few days to make the next one. And then it took me a few days to make the next one. And then from there, I was every other day, every day, making a tutorial, making a video, or making a track, right? So because I had nothing else to do, I was like, I'm just going to try this and see where it goes. Halfway into 2020, I got my first masterclass deal. So that really helped me because that was actually getting me like a significant amount of money. It wasn't great, but it was enough money for me to just pay the minimum amount of rent that I needed to pay and stuff like that. And I was able to slightly sustain myself through that. And from there on, I moved back in with my parents. I had my break, and then I came back. And from there on, it has been growing ever since. So I guess that's the history of Projektor and how I got the name and everything. And it's all indeed, yeah, happy accidents. Even the reason why I started producing is odd and a happy accident. I think I told this story on stream as well, but this may make for good content in the conversations as well. I started producing because I essentially got bullied into it. And it sounds really strange, but the way that it went is I got bullied a lot in 2nd grade and 3rd grade. And at the end of 3rd grade, all of the, like in the Netherlands, you have to choose your learning direction, I guess. So all of the students that were bullying me went in a different direction. I got place with a whole bunch of new people that I didn't know. And because I was always bullied, I would always wear headphones. So I always had these headphones around my neck like this whenever I was not actually listening to music. So I was always walking around school looking like this. So they started calling me the DJ as kind of like a joke. But me being so afraid of that turning into bullying again, what I just, like in my head, what I decided to do was I said like, wouldn't it be cool if they called me the DJ and instead of bullying me for it, I would actually show them a piece of music that I made, right? A piece of electronic music as if I were an actual DJ. That way they couldn't bully me for it because I was actually a DJ. I was actually doing the thing that they told me to do. So that is how I got into music production. That is how I started the idea. I just cycled home one day, and while I was cycling, I had this idea, like, it would be cool if I actually came to school one day with a track. Of course, that never happened because the music that I made absolutely sucked. But that is how I initially found out about, oh, you can make music with FL Studio. And then I got myself FL Studio, and then I started exploring it, and I was like, wait a second, this is actually really fun. This is actually something that is really enjoyable. This is my hobby now. And then years later, the hobby with the pandemic, through the accident of the pandemic, kind of turned into my job like it is now. So I guess the moral of the story is take all of the opportunities that you can get, even the ones that you think are stupid or are accidents or things that you thought are going to go nowhere, or things that you're doing for a completely different reason, right? Like I was trying to make music to not get bullied, and now it's my job. So all of those things you can use in your life to progress your life. That's a fun story. I like to tell that. I liked having told that story.
Alright, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know if you did by leaving a like, and if you're new here, make sure that you're subscribed. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.